All right, good morning. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much for joining us. This is the MoneyMaker webinar. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. This is a monthly webinar that we conduct for our reseller partners. And my name is Christina Torres. I'm a marketing manager with GoDaddy. So today, Shannon and Chelsea, who usually are with us, are not able to be with us. So we have two additional team members who will be joining us to help moderate and answer questions. We have Brian Foch, who's an engineering manager for the reseller, and we have Kurt Markham, who's a product support expert for the reseller. For the agenda today, we are going to start off with Bobby Altman, and she's the project manager for the reseller. She's going to discuss general announcements on the platform and then move into the new product announcements, which is what Chelsea reviews the coming soon. After that, we have a guest, Joseph Shifsky, who's a specialist in email marketing support, and he's going to discuss the GoDaddy email marketing platform, which we also call GEM. And finally, I'm going to talk about a new advocate program that we are launching. And then at the end, we will wrap up with Q&A. So just some quick housekeeping items. We are going to save all of the questions for the very end to answer them verbally. But of course, if you have any questions as the webinar is going on, you can ask them in the Q&A in the written text box on the bottom of your screen. And we will try to answer them as we go through via text and also verbally at the end. And also, just a reminder, this is being recorded, so if you need to jump off or if you join late, we'll be posting the recording to our community site. And so with that, I will hand it off to Bobby.
Hey everybody, just wanted to go through some of these things that Christina already announced here. The .au, I know many of you are familiar with this. We've only been able to offer a 2-year term on that, but the registry is allowing us to open that up to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 years. So the extensions that will be impacted is our ComAU, OrgAU, NetAU. We don't have an exact date for that, but it will be in the upcoming months that we'll be able to turn that on, so you'll be able to set the prices for those terms. The other announcement we have is for our super resellers. It's an old product that we used to offer. So I know there are some of you hopefully on the line here. We are creating an updated storefront for our super resellers. The screen print here is a sample of what it will look like, very much like our storefront that we have for our Pro and Basic resellers. If much like we did for our Pro and Basic resellers, we've offered the WordPress plugin that you can use to set up your super reseller storefront. I will inform you that you do need to have a separate instance of your WordPress for the super than what you're currently using for your Pro if you do that. We can go to the next slide, Christina.
Yep.
So this is a quick glance at what we have coming up. As I mentioned, our updated storefront. I see we added, there's a 1-year anniversary of our WordPress plugin. So those of you who have been using that and providing us feedback, thank you very much for that. We are actively working on the SSL on custom domains, and we're hoping to have something that we can roll out in August. I know a lot of you have been asking about that with changes that Google has coming up, so we'll have something prepared in August for you for that. We did just launch our Reseller Control Center. We do have it supporting an international experience. We currently do not have our reports translated, and that's because the information that we get there, as you guys are familiar, our commissions are paid out in USD, and a lot of the information that we're getting from that, from the calls that we're making to pull that information are only in English. So we will have a future project where we will enhance those reports to better support an international experience, but all other pages are translated and available if you have selected a different market other than ENUS. And then also in August, we're looking at improving our onboarding. Won't impact you guys so much as it will new resellers coming on. making it a little bit easier for them to get their storefront set up right away. New products that we have coming up, we have the website backup, which will be coming yet this month, and then the website builder. I know a lot of you have asked about GoCentral, when that'll be coming. So the website builder will be your version of that GoCentral that will be launching in August.
All right, great. Thanks so much, Bobby. Really appreciate that. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Joseph to speak about the GoDaddy email marketing.
Sounds good.
Joseph, do you want to take control of the screen?
Yeah, sounds good to me. I don't know if
All right.
this will stop the others. Yeah, great.
Oh,
So wonderful. You should see my screen now on the overview page. Again, my name is Joe. I work most of the time in the email marketing team. And I'm going to be showing you how to use the email marketing product so you can kind of confidently get used to it, know how to sell it to customers, because it's a really nice, powerful tool to kind of market to your database of subscribers. But also, it can be very easily used for your own business purposes, reaching new customers, keeping in touch with existing customers. It's just a very powerful way to get returns on your investment with kind of this email marketing tool. What we'll do is we'll just kind of get started as though we're starting out with a new campaign, and kind of showing some of the tools and features along the way as well. So the first area we're at here when you first log into the email marketing product is this overview page. It gives you just that, an overview. It gives you some details about what you can do. If you've sent some email campaigns recently, you'll have some information on the statistics of those, because each email does come with some good statistics on who's opening the email, who's clicking on links, so you can get some understanding of what your readers are up to. And you can also see some information on how your subscribers are doing. So in addition to importing your own database of customers, you are also able to gather subscribers using a sign-up form for your site. The place that you'll get started when you're ready to make an email campaign is right here on the top, just campaigns. When you go there, it'll just and greet you with this little arrow over to the compose button. But as soon as you've made more than one or more campaigns, it's going to be your campaign database. All of the email marketing campaigns that you've created are going to be here for you to edit, send, schedule, review the stats, and so on. So if you click compose, the window that appears gives you a number of options. I like to point out that all of the options on here on the left, these templates, they're all going to be using the exact same set of tools that I'm going to cover in this demo. So it's not going to be different for any of these. Really, the difference between these templates is what pre-filled content is going to be in the composer. So you can see we've got it into pretty popular categories. If you have a sales campaign or some event invitation, if you want to keep it simple with just like a basic text-based one and then start building your own from there, and then a traditional newsletter. And you can scroll over the examples area to see what kind of email, if you're using that template specifically, you could create. I do also like to mention that we have other options. We're not going to cover these specifically, but they're fairly straightforward. This one on the left, plain text, is to create an email that looks exactly like one that you would send to and from a Gmail or Outlook account. Any kind of personal email, you can make an email that looks very stripped down and simple like that, while still being able to kind of track it and resend it within the email marketing tool. There's insert HTML. This is for people who are pretty comfortable with HTML design. So we do offer a code editor for you to go about designing your own email from scratch. For us, we're just going to go ahead with a build your own. When you click that, it's going to take us to the composer creation page here. So when you're building the email, we have kind of a system. If you've heard kind of the acronym, it's what you see is what you get. On the left here is exactly that. Other than certain areas like this, which are optional, everything that's going to be here on this left is what your email is going to look like. So you're going to be editing it within the same area that you can basically preview it. At the top here, you can name it whatever you'd like. By default, it's just going to choose the time and date and what template you chose. You can keep it as boring as you'd like it to be, because you can get more creative with the subject line later on when you're ready to send. If we want to just keep it that way, to the right here, it is a manual save, so there is no autosave on this. You're going to want to make sure you're making saves as you go. After you make at least one save with this little floppy disk icon, you'll have yourself this preview button, and you can start looking at the email in its own full page environment. So we're going to be building this email as though it's on behalf of this kind of teddy bear company, Casey's Cuddly Critters. And the first thing we can do is upload some images to add to some of the areas within the body of the email. On the right here, we've got the image gallery, where you can drag images in or click the plus icon to upload them. If we click there, we've got some images already. We can start uploading those. In addition to uploading your own images, we do have a nice selection of stock images that you can browse through. So let's say we wanted more teddy bear images apart from our own. We can search for keywords here and come up with all of different images that we could use. Two areas that you can drag images to right away here in the body of the email. They have little prompts. This one here says, got a logo, drag it here. If you have a logo, or if your customers have a logo, what we kind of think of that is if you have just a little icon for your business, because this is actually a pretty small area. So we can show, for example, what that would look like. You can drag this teddy bear in there, and it becomes this little button on the top left. If you click this little gear icon to its right, you'll have tools to change its alignment on the email, as well as link it to a website. So it's really just kind of a nice little adornment on the top of your email if you have a logo that matches that. And if you don't want it, you can go ahead and delete that. The banner here, if you click to add a banner, it gives you a little bit more image specifics there. 590 pixels, if you're a designer or working with a design team, is how long this image is going to be. And there's no restriction on height. It's going to be the biggest image in your email, and it can be really good to have one that really calls attention to your brand, your organization, or your event, whatever you're sending on behalf of. We have an example of one here for the Casey's Cuddly Critters. Click and drag that on over. Prompts us to use an address. For lack of imagination, we're going to go with example.com. And we now have a linked banner image on the top. So we definitely recommend this. Since email marketing has tools to track who's clicking on your links, you can get a feel for what engagement you're getting from your customers, and your customers can also get an idea of the engagement from their own customers by adding links like this. What links are people clicking on? How many times are they clicking on links? All of those stats are provided within the email marketing tool. So you're not just sending an email and hoping that all these people are reading it. You can actually see what kind of engagement you're getting and compare the stats. Maybe you had a really cool email with some great content and one you weren't sure about. You can kind of compare how those two did. So below those two images is kind of the skeleton of the content. We have some example text here based on the template we chose. There's just a headline, little short update area, and then a signature. All of this is up to you to keep, edit, add to, or delete. So if you click on any of these, you'll see it's getting highlighted when I hold my mouse over it. When you click in there, it turns into basically the edit version of what we call modules. So these 3 modules in the email all have tools for me to further edit them. And we'll see at the top of each of these modules that they are, very simply, a text module. There are these 7 modules down here at the bottom. There's some for just image side by side with text. There's a text module, an image module, section title module, and all that. And we can show exactly what each of those look like as well. First off, let's say we just want to start with one module. We got all these modules based on the template we chose. We can go ahead and delete modules using that little icon. You even get the option to undo if you have deleted a module there for a short time. So for us, let's just see what it looks like to just keep your headline there. See what the other options look like. On the top, we have image and text. It's just an image box where we could drag an image into it and have that side by side with text. We can do the reverse with text and image. There's the text one we've already seen. We have the image only box. You've got some specific tools to make the image larger, link the image with this little button down here. You can also add multiple images with the plus icon. So we'll see as we're going through these modules, each one will have relevant tools within this area of buttons for you to really customize that type of module. And then we have a section title. A section title is often used for longer emails that have sections. So if you want to have little titles for each of the sections and also want to potentially use a table of contents, you can see that there is an option here to create a table of contents. If we click that, your headline is now an option, and you could make more section titles. Can kind of help for a longer newsletter, maybe an update kind of thing. If you have customers that are maybe sending out emails to their readers in a very personal way, you know, kind of almost like a Christmas card, Christmas letter kind of thing, you can have the option to make longer emails much more easy to navigate with these section title table of contents. And then two others here. We've got a button module. This can just be a nice little attractive way to get people to click on links in your email. You can customize the button to say something specific, where it should lead, what the alignment should be. And as we'll cover in a bit, you can also choose what kind of color scheme you're looking for. And then finally, a very simple one, just a divider line. So this can be helpful for emails where you want a little bit of extra space between the other modules and so on. So those are the 7 modules we've got. If we want to just go with our kind of basic email design, we'll just start with an image and text one. We've got that here. We can start putting our text within there. And if we want to make another one, we can go down here to the buttons, click text and image, and that adds that to the bottom of the email. We can drag in our other image into that image area and preview it as if it had text. And it's a nice little symmetrical look. First thing we'll do is we'll copy in some text. So let's just say we've got kind of a new teddy bear at this location. I've already typed my copy from elsewhere and I can just paste it in. You will be making edits to the text within this. So if you do have something that's a little more fancy on a Word document, that does need to be edited here, but it's super simple to work with the tools here as well as the styles menu to stylize your text. We'll go ahead, take this second paragraph, get rid of that, put it into this one, and now we've got a little bit more of that. Now, what we're kind of missing here is we've got some nice text introducing this new toy, but we don't really have much flavor to the text. The 2 places where you are going to change that are both within the module tools and then the styles menu over here. So right next to where you have your images is styles. By default, you'll start with something like this, the simple one, but each account has a number of pre-existing styles that you can click through and see how they work for your specific brand. So you can use any of these completely, there's no problem with that, but you can also edit any of these to your heart's content. So let's say you like this daily news one, but you don't really like the blue banner or like the blue footer at the bottom. Click that pencil icon to the right of the style you're using, and that brings you more options. We've got the name of the style, we can make it our own. We've got the background color, which in this case is this kind of darker, basically just a gray. We've got a white foreground. We've got the color of buttons. So this is where if we had buttons in our email, we could change the color of that. And if you are a designer or are working with designers in any capacity, you can also use hex codes. That's what these guys are, to just get the exact color you're looking for without having to find it from here. And so let's say we wanted to change the footer. We can click that color area and maybe experiment with some different colors like that, for example. Maybe make the background. We'll see if of course you are not liking any of those, you can just go ahead and change them at any time. In addition to this main tab, there's also all the settings for text. Now, this is where you're going to be able to customize the text in your email if you're wanting to kind of beautify your text. We have different categories of text here, each of which can be edited further. There's section title, heading, subheading, text, link, button, footer text, all these different kinds of text that you can customize. And then, of course, the logo that we saw earlier. So we're going to quickly run through here so we have time for some other parts of the product. But what we want to do is just have some of this text stand out. One thing we can do is highlight a line of text and use either the insert heading or insert subheading buttons. What that does is it puts this line underneath it, click OK, and now it has some new settings. It's higher, it's a larger text per the settings here. If we wanted to make it be a different color, say green, like that, we can do that. And apart from just the styles area as well, let's say you want stuff to stand out with just bold or italics, you can highlight text. Similarly, use those just like you're doing like in a Word document. Click the bold icon. And you'll see what's happening within the text area is this markdown is being used, which is kind of a form of HTML to call attention to that specific area of text. Finally, a helpful thing in any text is hyperlinking. Hyperlinking is definitely recommended if you're going to have an email with a number of links. Let's say you're sending this email to your customers and you want them to check out maybe some of the different products you're offering. If you're just listing out, HTTPS : / and then the address, that can work. But hyperlinking works a lot better, not only because it looks nice, but also because email filters will tend to like that a little better. Email filters, when you're sending these kinds of emails, will be kind of checking through the emails you're sending out. And if you're making efforts to kind of make the email look nice and clean and the links are hyperlinked and you're not writing all caps free sign up now, all that, it's going to be a much higher chance of making sure your customers see the email. So let's just link say hello to the newest addition to our Critter family. We highlight that text, click the link text button, and click the link should lead to example.com. Click save. It shows the markdown within the text, but if we go back to the preview, we can see that that is now a hyperlinked piece. So we've got kind of a basic email here that we're happy with. We want to make sure we go ahead and save it. If we want, we can also preview the page, see it in its own full page environment. Your readers will also be able to look at your emails in this full page. And we're going to jump over to the subscribers page now. So the campaigns page is where you're going to be for all of your email marketing campaigns, where you're creating them, editing them, sending them. The subscribers area is where you're going to be uploading contacts and managing them from here. So let's say we just want to get started with adding some subscribers. Most often people will be coming in with a file. So an example kind of file that can work is if you're working with a spreadsheet program, let's say Excel, and you've got different columns of contacts. You've got a column for email addresses, a column for first name, last name, maybe their location and all that. you can import that file with all of that information, and the system will keep that with that contact. I have a file that I can use here now. Let's click Add Subscribers, just kind of one by one here. When you first click it, the most common option here at the top is uploading some sort of spreadsheet file. What we can do is we can go to our file. And that's all ready to go. At the bottom here, we've got an Add to List option. So this is how you're going to categorize your contacts. By default, everything goes to all subscribers, or just as it said here, all. You don't have to have it just go there. You can make it go into a specific category. So let's say we're just, this is our grand opening customers. I've clicked on that Add to List area down here at the bottom. I've created a new list name. Click the plus icon, and then click Add Subscribers. You'll be asked how you originally acquired the contacts, just for the regulations that are on email marketing, just to make sure everything is okay with that. You can kind of let them know they purchased one of my products or services. Submit. Now we see a new list has been added under the kind of main one, all subscribers. All those contacts will be here because they were all subscribers is your master list. Every single contact is going to be here. But that specific file is now also in its own category, the grand opening customer list. So with the addresses that I've imported, if I click on them, I've got a little more information on their details. We've got location stuff that I imported. Any other details that I import with my file will be viewable here. And anytime you want to see all of this information in one place, you can export any list. That'll send you a file version of it so that you can kind of review it for your own records. So that's kind of the quick of importing subscribers. If you've got, files like that, that's a handy way. You can also paste subscribers in, and you can also just do this one by one. And anytime you're adding customers or subscribers, you can always choose a category for them to be added to. When we show the sending process, we can show exactly how those can be very helpful for splitting your contacts up in categories like that. So one thing is the suppressed list down here. So this is going to be in every account in addition to the all subscribers list. This is your basically do not send or quarantine list. People who unsubscribe or mark emails as spam or result in a delivery failure of some sort will be put here, and they're stored there for you free of charge. So another great thing to sell on the email marketing product, if you've got customers who think it might be a good fit, or for yourself, if you think it might be a good fit, but don't know how you go about managing that kind of thing, email marketing does this for you automatically. So if you send out an email to 100 people and 5 people unsubscribe, those people are all put into this list for you automatically. They are no longer held against you for your planned limits. Each account can only send to a certain amount of contacts. And it also helps to make sure you're never re-uploading those contacts again. So let's say you maybe keep re-importing the same file with new added contacts. We make sure that those people aren't being made active again, so that you don't resend unsubscribes or resend to people who can't receive emails. Super handy tool here. Below that, there's some additional information about your subscribers. Every user of this product is going to have a different plan level. I'm on what's called the Pro plan. So it gives me 5,000 contacts that I can import and send to per month. I'm at 5, so I've still got plenty of space. If I need more, I can click Buy More and get directed to where I can upgrade that. In addition to that, we've got import history. Import history just lets us see the details on how our imports have gone. So we've made 2 imports so far, and we've got some nice information there. So, Yes, that's kind of the main parts about the subscribers area. There are a lot of tools here for you to kind of look through each contact. If you send an email to any of these people, you can start seeing information on how those emails are performing. So if I had sent an email to joe@example.com here, right next to the subscriber details tab, there would be one for emails received. And it's a super handy area. You can see how all of the emails have been performing to that specific person. How they have they opened certain ones, have they not opened others. So lots of tools to really get some information on how your sends are doing. So before we move over to the sending process, I do want to mention quickly that we have a number of great add-ons as well. We won't have time to go over all of those, but this is absolutely for your customers a selling point of the power of the email marketing product. It's not just a place where you're designing your email and importing subscribers. It's also a place where you are using a number of additional tools that can be related to email marketing, but also just kind of growing your subscriber base. So if you click add-ons and then add more, we've got our feature add-ons here. Sign-up forms is a really popular one. If you turn that on and click the little gear icon to go set it up, you can start creating a sign-up form that you can then share with other people with a direct link. You can also embed that form. If you're handy with code, you can embed the HTML of that form into your site. And not only can the form just collect email addresses, by default it just has email addresses, also have it collect every piece of detail that you'd want from your customers. So let's say you want their name, you want to know what state they're from, and let's say, per my kind of import from earlier, you want to know what their favorite color is. You can make a text field for a custom field, favorite color. Now you can have people tell you what their favorite color is. You can really use this almost as like a survey option, and it can be very helpful, not only gathering contacts, but also getting information from them that is then stored in your email marketing subscribers area. Some additional add-ons, we've got an RSS to email option for bloggers, super handy for people or customers that have a blog and they want to send out regular updates. Or if you yourselves have blogs, maybe for your business, this is a very handy tool. You import your feed, your blog's feed, and then the system, if it recognizes the feed properly, will start sending out an email version of your newest posts as soon as they're ready. So it kind of just notifies your subscribers when you've got a new post, has a nice little featured image of it, a little blurb of text, and then they can click through to your blog and read more. So there are quite a few more, but definitely encourage you to look through these. This is a huge selling point of the product in general. Autoresponders to send a sequence of automated emails, social links to add little social links to your email. Sign up IPs. You can collect information on exactly when someone is signing up, even in their IP address, and many more, many awesome options to look through and get more power out of your email marketing product. So I want to finish up here with just an overview of the sending process. Let's say we're all ready to go. We want to send this email. Go back to the campaigns page, click send. And we've got our recipients tab first here. So this is where we specify exactly who the email should go to. We can send to some individuals. If you're sending larger ones, we recommend using lists. So this is where those lists come in super handy. Let's say you've been importing contacts into specific lists, and you want to send only to those lists. It's as simple as clicking include on that list, and the email will be sent only to those folks. So for us, we can just use this address that I know will work and won't give us a bounce. But you can also, of course, use these lists. I like to mention with the exclude button, that's not going to be something that most people are going to be using. For the most part, you're going to use include to send the email to whatever list you want to send to. Exclude is for those cases where maybe you want to send to the 3 people that are in one list but not another. So it's a little more advanced. For the most part, you can just click include on a list you want to send to and be good with that. When you continue, you get to the details page where you confirm the envelope information, basically, of the email. We've got the from name, Casey's Cuddly Critters, from email, and then the subject line, which we would not want to have as update July 11th. We can make something stand out a little more. And as a note on subject lines, this is something that a lot of data really shows email marketing in general can sometimes be surprisingly good return on investment if you are kind of looking for something to have a little bit more power with your marketing, because really you're just sending out emails, and if people are reading those, you've got that many more people being aware of your recent updates and your site and all that. And the top performers of those tend to have consistently creative subject lines, things that really stand out in the emails. You can kind of make it a creative project to think about what your audience is, what kind of email might stand out from the crowd. And since the subject line is most often the first thing your readers see, it can definitely be worth it to give it some time there. And you can, of course, edit your from name and from email as well. There are some other options here for how the send will go. You can disable click tracking and view tracking. So if you want to make it so that you aren't actually collecting data on how your customers are interacting with the email, that's absolutely fine. And you can do so. You can also do this per customer. So it's super handy for stuff like GDPR to make sure you're staying compliant if as applicable with that. So second send down here, this is another little cool option. If you want to send the email twice, let's say you've sent it out once and you want it to get to your customers again, you can check that option and it will go to your non-openers after 72 hours. It can be a helpful way to kind of check in again to see if they've seen your email. And then some social sharing icons down here that you can add to your email that allow your readers to share this full page version of the email. So you're basically inviting your readers to share that with their own followers. When you click send, it will give you all the information there on whether or not it looked good. And then you can go ahead and send it. So I do see that there is a question here, and oh yes, so this will happen for certain domains. So there are a few regulations, I just want to mention this, that will happen with sends, depending on what domain you're sending from. There are a lot of regulations on making sure you are sending from an address that you have control over, but it's a super simple process. You click on a link to confirm your ownership of the address, and then it goes through. But in the meantime, I just want to make sure I have this recent question. So Tristan asks, it would be great if Gem would import reseller customers by language so we can target en masse mail by their default language instead of English. That's a great suggestion. Gem currently does not do that. There are language options, but at the moment you can only turn the language to one language at a time. So that can be a little bit sorry, I'm just kind of clicking around here. That can be a little extra work depending, but if you're only sending a certain amount of emails and maybe 1 week you send to customers in France and then next week you send to English customers, you can change the account settings to accommodate both of those languages before the send. But we are always taking suggestions on improving the product, not only for just one version of it, but also for the reseller versions. And so I can definitely mention that one. Another one here, Jeff is asking, is there some way to have our reseller customers automatically added as Gem subscribers? So that is A good question. I'm not as familiar with the reseller export options, but for the most part, you should have some sort of download option that allows you to get a file version. And just like when I imported that file earlier, you should just be able to select that file and import it. As far as just a direct transfer of reseller customers automatically added to GEM, that isn't currently available, and there's not only just technologically, but there is also just a little bit of a compliance thing. Sometimes customers that are coming in from certain things, so maybe you've been advertising certain products to them, but not others, you'll just want to make sure that anyone you're importing is going to be aware of the specific brand that you are sending on behalf of. So that's one of the reasons why that's not currently live. Maybe someone else here might be able to give you a little more insight. It sounds like you're not being able to find the export option for that recently, but as soon as you can get a file of that, it will be as simple as importing that file into the subscribers area. But yes, I don't want to take too much more time from y'all. So that's basically what I have to show for email marketing. I hope that kind of helps you not only get a little more familiar with how to use it yourself to kind of help, spread the word to your customers, but also sell it as a really powerful tool to your customers. It can be a great return on investment. Thanks.
All right. Thanks so much, Joseph. That was great. I think the customization and analytics is going to be hugely useful for our resellers. So just want to make a quick announcement. Sorry, here, lost the page. So we are partnering with a company that is called RSL Media to provide engaging content for the resellers. This is just kind of a headliner. We're just mentioning it now. Some of the content is going to include tips and tools to help grow your business. So we just want to let you guys know that we're working on it. We're very excited about it, and we are going to have more information about the program and how to get involved in future webinars. So stay tuned for that. So now we're going to close with some Q&A. I think that the questions that were posted, Joseph pretty much answered, but if anyone has any other questions, please feel free to type them in the Q&A. And in the meantime, I will just talk about some other housekeeping items just to remind everyone, if you may have joined the call late, we do record this webinar every month, and it'll be posted on the community site on the Google+. Also, as a reminder, the next webinar is next month on August 1st. So the webinars will be the first Wednesday of every month at 10 a.m. Central Time. And so we'll just wait around for a few minutes to see if any other questions have been asked. But in the meantime, I want to thank all the guests who have joined, all the moderators who have helped to answer questions, and also to the resellers who have joined the call. Thank you.